Okay, since the last video I've added a couple of extra fruit objects and a symbol which resembles a basket. Now I'm quickly just going to arrange those, because currently we're just on one layer, and what I want to do is to have a fruit layer, and I want to keep my ball on a separate layer, which will be underneath the fruit. So what I need to do is basically select the ball and cut that, and then select the ball there, right click, I can paste in place to put it exactly where it was before. That's underneath. Actually what I'll do is put the ball there above the fruit, so the fruit appears, should I wish it to be inside of the ball. As so. Okay, there might be a few scale issues there, but I'm happy with that for now. Okay. So what I actually want to do is separate all this out so we can see at least some of each piece of fruit. We're going to create our first bit of action script just to test that everything works. Okay. So first off, we need to give all of our movie clips instance names. So the banana, if I go to properties, I'll start with first and I'll call that banana underscore MC. That's a convention really. If you call it underscore MC, you can get some code hinting when you're coding, and you can also recognize what type of symbol you're talking to when you're looking at the script, so it helps for debugging purposes. So the orange underscore MC, pear, and notice generally speaking that the convention for instance names is to use lowercase letters, whereas the convention on a class name is to use a capital letter at the start of the name. Okay, so apple underscore MC. Now they've all got instance names, and I just want to check when I select anywhere outside of my symbols that in my class file I've declared that the game class file we created in the first video is actually being declared as the class file for this game. Okay, so that's true, and I've still got the game file open, but if not, then we would find that in our project window there. Double click and it would open. So this is a basic class file. It's declared with the keyword package, and the package contains the class itself, and inside of the class would be all the functions and variables that we create. Initially haven't got an awful lot here, so the game class file will extend movie clip, and by doing that, if we've got code hinting set, it will then immediately import display movie clip for me. Okay. So the public function, in this case called game, is the constructor, and this is what runs when we first test the movie. So currently, if I just put a trace statement in to show that, and all a trace statement does is allow us to output a string of text, usually, or a variable, and it's quite useful for debugging, for checking that things are working or not working and finding the errors. Okay, so in this case, trace, this runs on first run, and if I just save that, and it's important to remember before you test a class file that you save it, unlike the flash file which doesn't necessarily need to be saved. And if I press Ctrl and Enter to test the file, I'll find is hidden underneath in the output window. This runs on first run. and we know where that came from. And there we go. Okay. So what I'm aiming to do is to get to the point where when we click on one of the fruits tell us their names, and this is going to be useful later on in the game because we're going to need to find out which specific instance is being clicked and then respond accordingly. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is to create a new public function which is going to respond to mouse clicks. So I'll just call this mouse EH, and this is the standard format for a function, as you will see with the public game there. So we've got the keyword public, which means it's available throughout the movie. Function declares that it's a function list of instructions that we're going to run. This is the custom name, mouse EH, which for me stands for mouse event handler. Some brackets where we put parameters that are required, and then a curly bracket to define the start of the list of instructions, and another one here, and this point here will run when this function is called. Now first off, as we're going to be responding to a mouse event, I need to create a variable to hold that. So event is a reserved keyword, so I'm just going to use the letter E, and after a colon I can then put a data type, and what we're going to look for is a mouse event. This then should import mouse event for us, and it does. So what this means is that whenever we call this function, it should be attached to a mouse event. If not, then it will throw an error. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trace out e.target.name, and this will give us the instance name for everything that's being clicked. And that's as far as we go with the class file at this point in time. But in the game itself, in the timeline, I'm going to need a layer for some actions that make this run. So add an event listener. Everything goes blue if you get it right. And then in there I'll put mouse event dot click, which is a method of mouse event, and then the function I want to call, which I created, and it's called mouse EH. And if I then test that with Control and Enter, I should be able to click on the apple. Just close that down. And we see there that the output has given us apple_MC. Now the reason I'm doing this is so that eventually we can check which clip is being clicked, so we can then interact with that clip itself. But actually a way of making things easier is to declare our movie clips as variables when we first start typing, and this will allow me to then get some code hinting hopefully. So I'll just declare the next one, banana _MC, after a colon, movie clip. Okay, so let's just try this again, banana _MC, and then when I press dot we get a drop down menu, which is great. So then I can just search through a list of events and sorry, methods and properties, and not have to worry about making too many mistakes, because then when I choose the event I can just go mouse event, click, press return, and then add the function in. That reduces the chances of getting things wrong. I could then also just use copy and paste once I've got it right the first time, so that all I need to do is change the name from banana to pear to orange. Okay. I could declare the variables just in case I use them again at any point. So pear, let's go and see movie clip, and maybe just use a little bit more cut and paste to save some time. And just change these. Now, the vast majority of coding is going to go into the class file, but there are certain things that have to happen on the timeline, and event listening is one of those things that must happen on the timeline. Okay. So I'll just test this again. Hopefully when I click on each one of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, has outputted of the individual symbols, and that's exactly where I want to be at the end of this video, so we'll stop there.